You know the feeling. You desperately want to move past a difficult experience. You read the books, you do the therapy, make a plan. Yet in the moment it matters most, your chest tightens, the anxiety spikes, and you fall right back into the exact same self-sabotaging behavior. We usually blame ourselves for a lack of willpower. We assume we have one unified brain, and we simply aren't fighting hard enough to push through the resistance. The reality is, human cognition operates on two completely distinct, often conflicting systems. Think of it like a computer. You have the conscious mind, which acts like the keyboard, and the subconscious mind, which is a massive, heavily armored hard drive. Trying to overcome deep-seated trauma using pure conscious willpower is like trying to rewrite a computer's hard drive by staring intently at the monitor. You are using the wrong tool for the job. That keyboard, your conscious mind, forms your wishes and goals.
But the hard drive, for subconscious, is a strictly reactive database storing automated survival programs. When the keyboard types a fragile new goal, it gets swallowed up entirely by the hard drive's entrenched code. Here is the mathematical reality of your daily life. Your conscious mind actively steers the ship for roughly 5% of the day. The other 95% of the time, whenever you are thinking, worrying, or daydreaming, that subconscious hard drive takes full control of your behavior. If you carry unhealed trauma, your brain has categorized it as a threat to your survival. That means a defensive, heavily armored survival program is actively running your life and making decisions for you 95% of the time, usually without you even noticing. To fix the code, we have to look at how it got there. The human hard drive boots up in the last trimester of pregnancy and spends the first 7 years of life continuously downloading data. During this specific developmental window, a child's brain operates almost entirely in a low, hypnotic frequency called theta. In the theta state, children observe their parents, their environment, and their experiences, downloading all of it as direct behavioral programs. There is no filter to reject bad information. The data drops straight into the hard drive. If a child experiences a terrifying event or absorbs chronic anxiety from their home, that threat response is permanently encoded as an automated survival script. When you struggle against your own trauma responses today, you are fighting a biological war using defensive rules that were written into your hardware before you were old enough to know what a rule was. The system protecting those rules is called the biological imperative. It is the hardwired evolutionary drive built into every organism to survive a physical threat at all costs. When something in your environment triggers one of those old trauma programs, an area of the brain called the amygdala sends a flood of stress hormones directly into your bloodstream. Cell biologist Dr. Bruce Lipton identified a strict biological rule regarding this state. The human body cannot be in a state of growth and a state of protection at the exact same time. Protection extracts a massive physical toll. Stress hormones violently squeeze shut the blood vessels in your gut and your thinking brain, forcing all available energy out to your arms and legs to fight or flee. Simultaneously, the system shuts down your immune response to conserve power. The evolutionary mechanism perfectly designed to save your life in a crisis will systematically destroy your health if it never switches off. Carrying unhealed trauma is like hiding from a sudden attack in an air raid shelter. When the siren goes off, you drop everything, close yourself off, and take cover. That shelter is perfectly designed to keep you alive during a temporary, acute emergency, but it becomes a lethal trap if you refuse to leave. You cannot eat, grow, or live a meaningful life underground. If the all-clear signal never sounds in your mind, chronic trauma traps you in a biological bomb shelter. It cuts you off from the nourishment of a healthy life, keeping you in a state of slow decay until your system collapses. To escape the shelter, you have to rewrite the code. But we already know the problem. You cannot use the conscious keyboard, which only runs 5% of the time, to argue with a subconscious hard drive that is 1,000,000 times more powerful. This chart shows the brain's electrical activity. As we fall asleep, the conscious mind powers down, returning to the hypnotic theta frequency of childhood. This backdoor allows audio affirmations played while drifting off to bypass consciousness and write directly onto the hard drive.
Sleep provides a daily biological open window to directly reprogram your deepest traumas without resistance. During your waking hours, the hard drive can only be rewritten through extreme habituation. It requires relentless practice and repetition, essentially faking a new behavior over and over until the subconscious finally accepts it as physical truth. We see this clearly in performance art. When actors fully commit to a role, intensely repeating a character's specific physical and mental habits, they trigger direct changes in their bodies. Renee Zellweger gained 40 pounds simply by thoroughly adopting the biological state of her character. The reverse is also true. Constantly rehearsing a negative mental program forces your actual biology into a state of collapse. Dustin Hoffman embodied the depressive character of Willy Loman so completely that he eventually required psychiatric hospitalization for clinical depression. These biological feedback loops explain why over 90% of disease is attributed to the chronic stress generated by subconscious programs. When the internal program dictates your physical state, trauma is an event you survived, not a permanent identity. It is a burden you can choose to stop carrying. By utilizing the nightly gateway of sleep and the waking power of habituation to rewrite your hard drive, you are finally sounding the all clear. You are giving your biology permission to step out of the bomb shelter, lower its defenses, and return to a natural state of growth.